Hey guys, good morning. I thought it would be fun to just sit and chill and do a Q&A. Theodore is sitting here with me. Hi. Oh, why are you talking so loud? Hugo's at school. I asked yesterday on my Instagram for some questions, which always feels like super self-centered, but we're here anyway. I just enjoy Q&As. I love watching other people's Q&As. I always just think that they're a fun, good time. So let's jump in. The very first question is, what are your favorite YouTube channels or podcasts? And this is such a great question because I have recently become obsessed with a new to me podcast called You're Wrong About. I mentioned it on my Instagram. Guys, if you're not listening to this podcast, please, please, please go listen to an episode. I'll show you the, will it focus? Beep, beep, beep. There. I just finished last night listening to their episode on Courtney Love. I had originally listened to their 5-part series on Princess Diana. Gosh, it was so good. It was so good. I listened to their episode on Marie Antoinette as well as the Stepford Wives. It's just such a fun yet intellectual breakdown of these subjects and topics that have either been like misconstrued over time, warped over time, or we just have like a completely wrong understanding on. And it's just so great. It's hosted by Michael Hobbs and Sarah Marshall, and they have a great dynamic, and I'm just obsessed. I love it so much, and I could not recommend it enough. I've mentioned Binge Mode before, but that's another one of my huge favorites. I've been listening to them forever. They binge through Binge Mode. They binge through different series and do deep dives. It's hosted by Mallory Rubin and Jason Concepcion. Love them. I've met so many wonderful people through the Facebook group, and it's amazing. So they just finished Binge Mode Marvel. They did all the Marvel movies, and they have Binge Mode Game of Thrones, Binge Mode Harry Potter, which apparently is the one that like people adore and go back to all the time. I actually, fun fact, have not listened to that one yet. And they also have Binge Mode Star Wars, and they did weekly episodes too. So that's a really great podcast. But You're Wrong About is the one that I'm currently obsessed with. Next question is, how's Hugo doing at school, and is he still doing speech therapy? He's doing so well at school. Thank you for asking. So well. He adjusted so well. He had like a few teary-eyed moments in the beginning, but he loves the kids. He loves being around other adults. He's doing so well. Yes, he's still doing speech therapy. So he's seeing a speech therapist twice a week in school. And we're also thinking of getting him some supplemental speech. But his speech has flourished in the past few weeks. Just feel so incredibly excited and happy for him. Question, favorite Walt Disney World snack and meal and dessert? Such a good question. I love Disney. We've been watching a lot of, oh, speaking of YouTube channels, we've been watching 4K WDW, which is a channel here on YouTube, and they just walk through the parks and like they'll do a tour of the Magic Kingdom, or I think their recent video was like the night walk from Magic Kingdom to Grand Floridian. Like, if you love Disney and you love just like the atmosphere, then those videos, I'll link the channel down below, are so, they just put you in Disney. There's no talking, it's just like total atmosphere. Love those videos. My favorite snack at Walt Disney World, that's so hard. I would say okay, I would say the pretzels, like the Mickey pretzels. It's hard because I'm vegan, and like it's kind of it's a little boring to be a vegan at Disney, I'm not gonna lie. That or the Dole Whip. We can eat the Dole Whip. My favorite meal at Disney, oh goodness, it's been a while since I've had a meal at Disney. I would say my favorite, okay, let's say my favorite dinner is, oh man, I don't know. I had a really good dinner the last time we went to Jico at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. I also really like Boma there as well. I know, it's been too long. It's been too long. And my favorite dessert. This is, again, a tricky one because we're vegan. And I would say my favorite dessert would be the Dole Whip. Biggest lesson learned as a second-time mom. I would say the biggest lesson learned is that everything's different, right, Theo? Like, it doesn't, it's great going into it feeling a bit more confidence, which I really appreciated, especially in the hospital. Everything didn't seem as daunting or as scary, even though I was a first-time like C-section patient. But like, let's take the breastfeeding feeding journey for instance. It's like I didn't realize that there was still so much for me to learn. And I thought like, oh, like I got this. I, you know, attempted breastfeeding the first time. I'm sure it'll go great this time. And it didn't. And so it's just incredible that like there's always more to learn, and don't be so hard on yourself. Next question, when would you try for baby number 3? So, I don't know. I think we want, I mean, speaking just personally myself, I would love if/when we have a 3rd baby, for the world to be at a place where COVID isn't as much of a thing anymore. I would love for Jeff to be able to come to the doctor's appointments. I would love for family and friends to be able to be there to meet the baby. I would love to not have to wear a mask to all my doctor's appointments. So like I'm thinking at the very least it would be like a year from now is when we would start trying. But I really, knowing I think in my heart that our 3rd baby would be our last, I want it to be as stress-free. Oh my gosh, I'm like, I feel nervous even saying this out to the universe. As stress-free a pregnancy as possible. I don't know. Next question, did you deal with the 3 or 4 month sleep regression? This is another one that I like don't want to say too loud. No, I believe the universe is good. No, we did not deal with a 3 or 4 month sleep regression. We did not. Naps for the past week have been like a little touch and go. But no, we did it, right? No, he's still sleeping really well. What were some of the hardest differences in being pregnant/giving birth during COVID versus not? There you go. So I guess the hardest thing is just like being pregnant during a pandemic, especially like being pregnant last year, and like I got pregnant, was pregnant, gave birth all in 2020, and it was just hard because I didn't have the same experience that I had with Hugo in terms of like being pregnant around people and getting that support from people, and I didn't feel like I really like was able to close out that chapter with Hugo as an only child in the way that I had envisioned. So like taking him to his gym class, taking him places, like really getting to spend time with him out and about in the world before we introduced a new baby, which is ridiculous because like we were home with him every single day. And what was amazing and like such a great part of last year and staying positive is that Jeff was home, and had the world not shut down and had he not lost his job, then he would have been working every day. And so he was able to really be there for me, and we were able to as a family spend a lot of time together. But yeah, it was hard being pregnant but being home all the time, so like not interacting with other people, not getting to celebrate and share my pregnancy out in the world. Luckily I have a YouTube channel, and so I got to share it with you guys. But yeah, that was the hospital stay it was different because we couldn't have guests or anything, but that was fine. Like it didn't feel strange. I would have loved to have my parents come the day that the baby was born and, you know, and meet him right away, but they got to meet him when we got home. How long did it take for your swelling to go down after your C-section? It took a few days. I don't know if I was under the impression that it was gonna go away right away, because I had the intense swelling after my vaginal birth with Hugo. But yeah, it definitely took, like I had pretty intense swelling in the hospital after the C-section, and I want to say maybe a week it took, maybe a week, if not a little bit longer. Just had a C-section on Monday, congratulations. How long did it take for you to feel normal? I would say after about a week, excuse me, after about a week, I was able, like I felt really good. And then, I don't know, like, I guess okay, normal, right? Like you're never gonna feel normal again after a C-section because it's a major abdominal surgery. But I would say after like 2-ish weeks, I was like gung-ho, and I tried not to push myself too much, but I felt normal. How are you liking the snoo? We are loving the snoo. Although I will say, let me just wipe his face. I will say, we think that he doesn't need the rocking. So the snoo rocks back and forth. And we think that he doesn't need it, because there have been a few times now where like my mom watches the boys one night a week so I can go teach dance, and she's put him in the bassinet without turning it on, and he's been fine. He's slept. And there was one night where the power went out and the snooze shut off, and we didn't realize. It was like a really quick thing, and then in the morning the snooze was just off, and we like went to get him, and we noticed that it had shut off at like 1:30 or something. And so honestly, I don't think he needs the rocking, and I think it would be better for us to like wean him off of the rocking sooner rather than later. But the snoo as a whole, I love it. I definitely will use it again, and I think it's great. This is such a great question. How's Jeff doing lately? Thanks for thinking of Jeff. I'm gonna speak for him, and I think hopefully I'll hit the nail on the head. I think he's doing well. It's been a really hard year for him. Last year was a really hard year for him. He was in an industry that he loves wholeheartedly. He was doing a job he loved wholeheartedly. He was working with people he loved wholeheartedly, and for all of that to get taken away was really difficult. He most certainly appreciated like being home with us, but I think he's ready for his industry to come back. And if you're new here, his industry is live performance and ticketed events. So things like Broadway, theme parks, touring, that's what he's passionate about. And yeah, he's just ready for that to come back. So he's doing really well. He's doing really well, all things considering. And he's just ready for, he's like all of us, like he's just ready for the world to get back to work. And luckily he's been in a full-time job for the past few months, and so that's been a huge blessing. And it's just, you know, it's a waiting game. So he's doing well. Let's just all say a prayer that, you know, Broadway tours and theme parks and all of that live entertainment can come back really soon. This question rocks. Anna, you're the best for asking this. Would you rather live in Rivendell, the Shire, Rohan, or Gondor? If you're not a Lord of the Rings nerd, then you might have no idea where any of those places are. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to go with Rivendell, because, okay, so the Shire is a close second, because who wouldn't want to live in a little hobbit house with a round door in the Shire? It's so peaceful, the greenery, the flowers, like it just seems idyllic. However, what my anxiety pulls me more toward Rivendell because of the spell that is, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like you can't get into Rivendell if you are like part of the Dark Lord's forces. So that eases my anxiety, because I'm like, oh, I would live in Rivendell because I know that like no orcs could get in. I know the ring wraiths couldn't get in. Like that to me is ideal. You see how my brain works. But the Shire, I mean, come on, like if it were the Shire post the Third Age, post the devastation in the books of like Saruman going there and like destroying it, like if it were post that like restoration Shire, then I would say maybe the Shire. I don't know. I think my home would be in Rivendell. Aragorn would be my husband, obviously, and the Shire could be like the place we go to, like, you know, have a country holiday. You find it weird when people you don't know message you? No, not at all. No, because like I don't know. I don't think of you guys as people I don't know. And if I don't know you, like I've had people message and be like, hey, like I watch your YouTube videos, we don't know each other, but hey, my name is whatever, and like I am currently pregnant, or I just had a baby, and like to me that is the equivalent to someone you start talking to, I don't know, at like your kid's soccer practice, or like at the grocery store. And like it, to me, especially in like the digital age and in the time and place we live, that to me is the same thing. So it's like, no, I don't, you know, I may not know you the first time you message me, but like let's get to know each other and like let's be friends. And I love that. What's a question about your boys you get a lot that gets under your skin? Huh, that's a good question. I don't know. There isn't one really. I mean, you guys are all really respectful of the boys. I don't mind any of the questions that have to do with Hugo's speech delay. They're all always very respectful, and it's always coming from like a very sincere and genuine place. You know, all the questions about Theodore, like, I guess there really isn't a question that gets under my skin. I mean, there are sometimes people who I know are asking quite like the questions about diapers sometimes. And I'm like, I know that these questions aren't, you know, if they're not sincere and they're coming from a more suspicious place, those are the questions. They don't get under my skin. I just, you know, just block and bless. And you feed Theo in the middle of the night once or twice, or does he sleep through the night? So Theodore sleeps through the night. He does not get fed in the middle of the night. Yeah, and it's been that way for a while now. And at the beginning, when that was happening, I was sleeping through the night, but then my supply dropped. That whole like saga happened. So then I started getting up in the middle of the night to pump, and now I'm at a place where we've fallen into enough of a routine where I can pump right before I go to sleep, and then I wake up at like 4:15, 4:30, pump, and then we have milk for the morning. Do you plan on having baby number 3? There you go. We do. That's currently the plan. We're just waiting for the right time. And also, like, Theodore's only 4 months, and I haven't gotten my cycle back yet, so that's maternity clothes. I really love just Target anything. My sweet friend who I met through my YouTube channel, Christy, sent me a big box of maternity clothes last year, and so much of it was Target, and I just love Target. I love Target clothes, but I really love Target maternity clothes because I just find they're so comfortable. They wear so well too. Like, I don't know, I usually live in maternity clothes all throughout my pregnancy and then for a decent time after, and I find that they're so, like, they're just so easy to wear and so, like, easy to pull down if you're nursing. Like, they're just great. What are some holy grail first time mom products and baby products? I would say anything by Frida Baby is really great. So Frida Baby is the company that makes the Nose Frida, the Windy. They also make like a silicone. Do you want me to pick you up, honey? Yeah, you talk too much. They also make a silicone cradle cap brush that's really great. They just came out with a postpartum kit, and I think they also just came out with like a breastfeeding kit. They're fantastic. I'm a huge fan of all their stuff. Some other holy grail, I would call the Snow a holy grail. Now, I know it's crazy expensive, but they do have a rental program, so you could rent it if you think that that's something that you might want to do. What else? I love zipper onesies. I just find them a lot easier than the snap onesies. I have gotten a lot of flack on TikTok for calling a wipes warmer unessential. I'm just saying, we love the wipes warmer in our house, so do with that what you will. And I will say we've been really loving the Ubi. Oh my goodness, big Barbaruzi. We've been really loving the Ubi diaper pail. So we had the, what was it? The diaper genie. We had the diaper genie for when Hugo was born. That thing smelled so bad by the end, by the time we got rid of it. Any diaper pail is gonna smell bad, but what I like about the Ubi is that when it's closed, you can't smell it. You can't smell the diapers, right? So that, I mean, those are a couple. I have a few newborn essential videos that I'll link down below. 26 weeks pregnant, best advice as a new mom. Congratulations. I would say it's gonna feel overwhelming. The whole experience is going to feel really overwhelming. Take each day as it comes and take each piece of advice as it comes. Don't overwhelm yourself. Trust your instincts and know, like, educate yourself, of course, but don't overwhelm yourself, and know that when the time comes, when your little one comes, intuition will kick in as well, that you can honor and will help guide you through the first few years, because it's tough. Also surround yourself with helpful people. So if it's possible, if you have family or friends nearby, and I know with COVID it's so hard, they might not be able to physically be near you, but even just to like send a text or a phone call or FaceTime, like all of that stuff helps so much in the beginning. It can feel so, like having a new baby, being a new mom, especially in COVID, can feel so isolating and daunting, and to just have that emotional support is so important. And if you don't have anyone, or you just want to chat to someone who's not your family, you can always send me a message on Instagram. And last question, how would you have made it work in bedrooms if you had different genders? I'm in a similar setup. So if Theo were a girl, then we would have, I mean, they would have shared a room essentially for the first little while. We live in a smaller place. It's only 2 bedrooms, our master bedroom and then Hugo's bedroom. And I mean, I shared a room with my brother. We lived in a condo until I was like, I think 6 or 7, 6. And my brother and I shared a room. So I think that it would have been similar. We're not in a position right now to buy a house with 4 or 5 bedrooms. So we would have just, and for baby, like we know that once he grows out of the SNU, we'll have him in a crib and the crib will be in our room. So if Theodore were a girl, it would have been at least a year until he would have shared a room with Hugo, and then they would have just shared a room. Like I loved growing up. I had a separate room for my brother when we finally moved into our house, and I loved that. And my brother and I had very different personalities, so like for us it really worked. But I think that like a boy and a girl sharing a room is fine. Like if that's the situation you're in, then like that's okay. That's totally fine. So yeah, they would have shared a room for the first little while, and then maybe in a year or 2, if we were in a position to buy a bigger house and get them separate rooms, then we would have, then that's the plan anyway. So hopefully in a couple of years we'll be able to afford a bigger place, and either they will share a room. I mean, it depends how many bedrooms we have, but if we have another baby and it's a boy, then we'll do, you know, 2 boys in a room maybe, or I don't know, maybe we'll have enough bedrooms they can all have their own room. I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, right Theo? All right, those are all the questions. Yay, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Thanks for hanging out with Theo. We love you, and we'll talk to you really soon.